Revealed, the touching story of the 12-year-old homeless piano prodigy who inspired thousands. Ethan sat cross-legged on the cold, cracked pavement of a bustling park, his fingers dancing across the keys of an old, weathered piano. The sun peeked through the tall buildings that loomed above, casting elongated shadows like giants over him. The clamor of the city, the honking cars, the distant sirens, the chatter of street vendors faded into a soft hum, making way for the rich, melodic notes that poured from the piano. Each chord he struck felt like a lifeline, bridging the chasm between his broken world and the dreams he dared to dream. Though his mother, once a brilliant musician, now struggled with her addiction and resentment, Ethan clung fiercely to the hope that music could heal their fractured relationship. In the cramped shelter they called home, amid the smell of damp walls and the murmurs of weary residents, he found solace in his practice, believing that if he played beautifully enough, he could pull them out of their despair. Every day, with the streets buzzing around him, Ethan played. And every day, that music caught the ears of passers-by. A glimpse of wonder flickered in the eyes of onlookers as they paused to listen, drawn in by the talent escaping the fingertips of this unlikely prodigy. But outside those fleeting moments, he returned to a life shadowed by his mother's demons, a son craving love from a mother trapped in her own chaos. One day, as Ethan played his heart out, a grizzled man approached. Joe, a Vietnam veteran who had lived in the shelter for years, listened intently, nodding slowly with each note. When Ethan finished, Joe clapped his hands together, a rare smile lighting up his tired face. "Kid, you've got a gift. I can't let you waste it." Ethan looked at Joe, eyes wide with a mix of disbelief and longing. They began to meet regularly, practicing together as Joe mentored him, encouraging him to enter a local talent show. For Ethan, it felt like standing on the edge of a brighter tomorrow. But when he shared this dream with his mother, her face clouded with fear. "Ethan, I can't bear the thought of losing you to all that fame." His heart sank. It was a reminder of how their dreams now clashed, unraveling the bond they so desperately needed. As the talent show approached, whispers of the homeless piano boy swept through the neighborhood, drawing both support and jealousy. Some rallied for him, others simply scoffed. Even so, Ethan practiced harder, pouring every shred of hope into the keys. The night of the show set the stage for a community bustling with anticipation. The lights dazzled, and excited voices filled the air, but among the crowd, a sense of trepidation lingered. Ethan stood backstage, nerves buzzing, feeling the energy swell around him. Would he finally make his mother proud, or would this push them apart even more? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Ethan stepped onto the stage, the spotlight shone not just on him, but also on everything he fought through, the struggles, the silence, the love he hoped to reclaim. Fear mixed with determination. Would he be the spark that ignited change for them both? His fingers began to play, and the first note sliced through the tension in the air. The crowd held its breath, amazed by his talent. As the music soared around him, would it mend what had been broken, or would it create an even deeper rift? The melody enveloped them all, turning a moment of doubt into an outpouring of potential, a promise that the journey had only just begun. Ethan felt the weight of the world lift, if only for a moment, as his fingers danced across the keys. Each note flowed through him, swirling into the air, igniting whispers of shared hope among the audience. The spotlight warmed his skin, but it was the music that fueled his spirit. Around him, the faces of strangers softened, their eyes reflecting the emotions he poured into every line of melody. As he moved into the next section, the audience swayed. He could feel their connection, a powerful current pulling them together. But deep down, beneath the surface of each note, a fear nagged at him. What if this moment wasn't the answer he hoped for? Would it really bridge the gulf between him and his mother? Just off stage, his mother clenched her hands. She had come, but the grip of anxiety was strong. Each note he played echoed her inner turmoil, fear of change clashing against the hope that perhaps she could still reach him. Ethan's heart ached for her, even as the music swelled around him. When Ethan finished his piece, the room erupted into applause. The cheers felt electric, washing over him like a wave. He bowed, his heart soaring, but as he turned to look for his mother, his spirit plunged. She stood frozen, eyes wide and glassy, her body trembling. Did she fear his success would pull him away? As the show wrapped up and contestants were announced, reality loomed. Moments before the winners were to be revealed, Joe squeezed Ethan's shoulder, grounding him. No matter what happens, remember this is just the beginning. His words poured like a balm over Ethan's racing heart. The announcer's voice cut through the space, filled with excitement. And the winner of this year's talent show is the pause felt like eternity. Ethan glanced at Joe, who nodded encouragingly. Ethan. Our very own homeless piano prodigy. The crowd erupted, but all Ethan heard was the pounding in his chest. Mixed emotions washed over him. Joy. Relief. And then the tug of dread. His eyes found his mother again, but this time she was moving toward him. In that moment, he dared to hope they could finally talk. As Ethan stepped down from the stage, the cheers ringing in his ears, his mother flung her arms around him. I'm so proud of you. Tears trickled down her cheeks, and Ethan held her tightly, feeling the warmth of her love pressing against him, but the moment was quickly clouded by doubt. The applause faded, replaced by the anxious looks from a few shelter residents who had come to see him. Would they still see him as just a homeless boy? Someone stolen by the spotlight? Before he could process those conflicting feelings, a figure stepped forward, holding a phone high and capturing the moment, a local news reporter who had been following his story. Ethan. Over here. The woman called, and instantly, cameras focused on them. Ethan felt a surge of anxiety. Was this the fame his mother so feared? His heart raced. He wanted to smile. He wanted to feel victorious. But as the flashbulbs popped, all he could think of was if this change would push them further apart. Would his triumph turn into another layer of loss? As that reality loomed above him, the stage lights now felt heavier. He pulled back slightly, searching his mother's eyes, gauging her pride against her fear. The crowd cheered, but all he could hear was his own heartbeat. Ethan, Joe's voice broke through the chaos, calm and steady. This is just the beginning for you. Don't let fear dictate your path. But could he really reclaim both his future and his mother? As their eyes locked, a question lingered unspoken between them. Was this newfound fame a bridge or a barrier? Ethan felt the weight of possibilities hovering, yearning for answers. Would he have the strength to navigate this new world, protect his dream, and still mend the frayed ties of home? He took a deep breath, the world pressing in around him, waiting with bated breaths for what came next. The journey was far from over. Ethan's body felt electric, still buzzing from the applause, but it was the anxious grip of reality that started to creep in. He didn't have time to bask in the glory. No, right now, everything felt like a whirlwind. Cameras clicked and bright flashes threatened to blind him, each burst drawing him further from his mother's warm embrace. She stepped back, wiping the tears from her cheeks, her expression a mix of pride and something darker, something he couldn't quite place. While he was surrounded by excitement, her sorrow cut through the jubilance like a sharp knife. He glanced toward Joe, whose encouraging smile did little to assuage the worry building in his gut. The reporter approached, enthusiasm pouring out of her like a flood. Ethan, how does it feel to be a star? She practically shouted, and the crowd lurched forward, hungry for his response. The words stumbled from his lips. It's great. The truth lay tangled deep inside, buried under expectations. He wanted to leap into the air and scream out his victory, but instead, it felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into an abyss of uncertainty. That he looked back at his mother, who suddenly seemed fragile. Mom, are you okay? He asked softly, stepping closer, the crowd fading into a mere backdrop as they shared this intimate moment. I'm proud of you, Ethan. You're getting so many opportunities now. Her voice trembled, and he could see the internal struggle behind her eyes. But this is what I was afraid of. Afraid of what? The question flew out, sharp, igniting a tense silence that wrapped around them. That you'll leave us behind. That you won't need me anymore, she whispered, eyes downcast. Her vulnerability hit him harder than any note he had played on stage. It rocked him because he understood her fear, but he didn't know how to reassure her without diminishing their reality. Ethan felt the weight of countless unanswered questions. Mom, I could never leave you. You're my family. The crowd erupted in cheers, but all he could hear was the echo of their conversation. He noticed people nearby, glancing at each other, some grinning, while others seemed apprehensive. What were they thinking? He was a prodigy, but did they see the boy behind the music? Ethan. The reporter's voice sliced through their moment again. What's next for you? Will you pursue music professionally? He opened his mouth to speak, but hesitation lingered like a heavy fog. He wanted to say he would, that he would chase his dreams fiercely. But deep down, he could feel the ties that bound him to his mother growing taut. I don't know, he finally admitted, feeling vulnerable yet clear. I just want to keep playing. The reporter nodded but pressed on, and what about your family? How will they fit into your future? Ethan felt exposure in her question, a reminder of his past and the struggles they faced. My family is everything to me, he said, conviction emerging through the cracks of his uncertainty. I want them by my side. A chorus of murmurs swept through the crowd, admiration and skepticism blending together. He could feel Joe's supportive presence, grounding him amidst the whirlwind. But suddenly, a new voice called from behind. Ethan. Can I take a picture? A girl, no older than 10, with wide hopeful eyes, pointed her camera at him. Of course. He responded, flashing a genuine smile that broke through the chaos. She beamed back, and in that moment, he realized that the joy in his heart outweighed his fears. As he posed, the flash went off, and the realization hit him. This was more than just a moment in the spotlight. It was a chance to inspire others, to show them that overcoming struggles was possible. Was it worth the risk? As the surrounding cheers faded, Ethan searched for his mother again, desperate to connect. But she stood back, just beyond the crowd's reach, uncertainty still clouding her face. Did they truly understand each other? Would they find common ground amidst the shifting tides of his newfound fame? As the last photo was taken, the applause began to wane, and Ethan felt the question loom heavier than ever. Was he ready for the journey ahead, and could his family keep pace with the changes? With his heart racing, he stepped off the small podium, ready to confront not only the fame ahead but the vulnerability inherent in making space for his music while keeping his family close. The journey was just getting started. What would he have to sacrifice to retain the ties of love that meant everything? Ethan stepped into the chaotic aftermath of applause, the bright lights flickering around him like stars dimming in the dawn. The energy of the crowd began to dissipate, leaving a hollow echo in his chest. He felt the weight of expectations settle, heavy as a stone, and the thrill of performing started to slip away, revealing a stark reality he hadn't fully faced. As fans gradually dispersed, he looked around, searching for his mother. She seemed to withdraw further, inching back as if the distance could somehow shield her from the whirlwind that had just swept through. Joe stepped up beside him, concern etched on his face. She's fine, right? He asked, but Ethan could hear the unspoken worries beneath the surface. I don't know, Ethan murmured, an unsettling unrest gnawing at him. There was this tug of war in his chest between wanting to soar high on the wings of success and the fear of letting go of the roots that had once grounded him. I think she's just scared. Understandable, Joe replied. But you just blew them away out there. You've got this. Ethan forced a smile, but his heart was heavy. All he could see was the fragile joy on his mother's face tempered by the shadows of worry. Suddenly, the thrill of being a star felt like a burden he wasn't prepared to carry alone. "Hey, Ethan." The reporter's voice broke through again, now trapped in the lingering noise of celebration. "Can I get a few more quotes? Do you feel like this is just the beginning?" He nodded, but dread coiled in his stomach. "I guess it feels like the start of something big." He tried to sound confident, but his voice betrayed him, wavering as he spoke. "But I really want to make sure I stay close to my family." The reporter nodded, scribbling notes furiously, unaware of the storm brewing inside him. He waved to the last few cheering fans, their admiration hanging in the air like sweet perfume, yet it felt surreal. Ethan grasped at the praise, but it slipped through his fingers, leaving him dizzy. A shout broke through the crowd, further fracturing his attention. "Ethan, over here." A group of older kids waved excitedly, pulling back the light of innocence he had just shared with the little girl. It felt like they saw the spotlight, but not the boy it illuminated. He waved back, but his pulse quickened as he felt the pressure intensify. Would they still want to hang around him when the glimmer faded? Would they still care if the music suddenly stopped? A soft whimper caught his ear. He spun around, discovering a stray dog hiding near the edge of the crowd, trembling. The sight struck him deeply. It reminded him of his own struggles of missing a home that could provide warmth. "Are you okay, buddy?" Ethan knelt down, extending his hand gently. "You don't have to be scared." The dog's eyes flicked cautiously to him, revealing a hint of understanding. "Great, you like dogs." Joe joked, stepping closer. But Ethan was transfixed. "Doesn't he deserve a home, too?" "Yeah, man. Everyone deserves a shot at a better life." Joe's voice was heavy with understanding. "What are you thinking?" Ethan straightened slowly, made a decision. "I want to do something about this. Not just for me, or my mom. I want to help. If I can inspire others with my music, why can't I make a difference for those like him?" Hope sparked in his chest, followed by uncertainty. Could he really make that leap? Turning back toward the crowd, he realized he needed to take action. He couldn't just seek applause for himself anymore. His hand tightened into a fist as he took a deep breath, steeling his resolve. "I have to stand for something bigger than I am. I can't ignore it." Joe clapped his shoulder in support, a smile breaking through the tension. "Now that's the spirit, Ethan." But there was a familiar voice calling to him from the back of his mind. Did he have what it took to follow this passion, not just for fame, but for compassion? As the doubts loomed in tandem with his dreams, he felt the challenge crystallizing ahead. Ethan glanced toward his mom, still standing near the edge, her expression one of both worry and hope. There it was again, the weight of his decisions pressing down. Would she understand his new dream? With each step back toward her, his resolve solidified. He had a choice to make, and it was about more than music. This journey was about connection, purpose, and perhaps, healing. Could he truly navigate this path of fame while giving back? As he reached her side, Ethan took a deep breath, ready to share his heart not only with her but also the world waiting just beyond the safety of their embrace. The questions loomed large. Was he brave enough to face them both? What awaited him on the horizon? Ethan could feel his heart racing as he stood before his mother. The way she looked at him, filled with both hope and fear, stirred 1,000 emotions within him. It was as if he were standing at a crossroad, surrounded by crisscrossing paths that each promised something unknown. Taking a moment, he focused on her eyes, searching for reassurance. "Mom, I want to help," he finally said, his voice steadying with each word. "Not just with music, but with everything. There are kids out there like that dog. They deserve love and a home. I want to make a difference. I want to use my music for something bigger." She opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. Instead, her eyes glistened, mixing pride and concern. Ethan chewed on his lip, wondering if she understood the full magnitude of what he was saying. "Mom, please don't be scared," he pressed on. "I want to do this for us. For everyone who feels lost." He added more softly, "For you." Before she could answer, the reporters began closing in again, a few more eager faces with microphones ready, capturing every moment, every word he uttered. The excitement in the air shifted to a pressure that felt suffocating. He sensed his joy slipping again, and for a heartbeat, he faltered. Could he backtrack to a world where he simply focused on himself? "Ethan. What's next for you?" Came another voice, this one filled with more urgency than the last. "Will you be doing charity concerts?" The question hung there like a life raft in turbulent water. Ethan had never thought of that before, but it resonated deeply. "Yes," he blurted out, surprising even himself. "I want to create events to raise money for shelters and programs that help kids who don't have a place to call home. Music can change lives, and I want to be part of that change." Cheers erupted from the small gathering around him, but the noise felt different, like a distant echo. What mattered more to him was how his mother now seemed to fill with hope, her earlier worries beginning to fade at the edges. A small smile broke free, and that felt like the first ray of sunlight breaking through thick clouds. "Ethan," she began, her voice trembling. "If this is truly what you want, I will support you. Just, promise me you will stay safe." The tension in Ethan's chest eased a little. "I promise. I'll make sure to keep my feet on the ground." He stepped to the side to look into the crowd more clearly, letting the ideas begin to spiral inside his mind. There was so much he could do, and yet the fear of failure gave him pause. What if he reached too far? What if the music turned out to be just that music, and nothing more? But then the stray dog's face flashed in his memory the way its eyes had shined with a small flicker of hope. If that dog could find courage in a heartless world, then so could he. Suddenly, a hand touched his shoulder. Joe was there, eyeing him with encouragement. "Hey, you've got something special, Ethan. People are going to listen to you. They want to be inspired." The finality of Joe's words struck a chord. Realizing he didn't just want to inspire, he needed to. A fire ignited within him, propelling him toward action. The applause was no longer about personal glory, it became about a cause he truly believed in. As Ethan turned back to face his mom, a swell of determination filled his chest. "I'll start with a benefit concert. We'll call it Music for Home. We can reach out to other musicians and see what we can do. Together, we can make a real difference." Her smile widened. "I love that idea." With renewed excitement, Ethan took a deep breath. He could feel his world shifting, expanding into something bigger than he'd anticipated, but just as fast, a cold rush of doubt quickly followed. What if no one showed up? What if he wasn't enough? As the swirl of emotions danced in him, he took a step toward his destiny, aware that embracing his dreams also meant confronting his fears. Together, Ethan murmured to himself, "We can do this." Yet even as he felt the pulse of possibility around him, another thought loomed large: could he handle the pressure of the spotlight while embracing this new mission? As the crowd buzzed around him, Ethan knew this was only the beginning. The horizon ahead was vast, but he had to be ready for whatever challenge lay behind it. Ethan stood there, his heart pounding, the weight of expectation heavy on his shoulders. The crowd began to disperse, but the energy of the moment lingered, hanging in the air like the last notes of a beautiful melody. He watched as some of the reporters' notebooks filled with the bright ink of his words, capturing his resolve, his commitment. But within him, uncertainty grappled like a stubborn shadow. Music for home. The phrase echoed in his mind, a mantra he now needed to embody. The idea had sparked a fire, but now he had to fan those flames into a full-blown movement. He turned to Joe, who was still by his side, a familiar face amidst the swirling sea of new strangers. "Where do I even start?" Ethan asked, shaking his head a little. "First things first, get a team. You can't do this alone. Share your vision," Joe said, a grin spreading across his face. You need people who believe in this, people who want to help. Ethan leaned back against the cold metal railing, uncertainty clouding his features. I'm just a kid with an idea. What if I can't convince them? Trust me, people will believe in you once they see how much this means to you. You've already inspired so many today. Joe pointed towards the retreating crowd. Look at their faces. They felt something when you spoke. Hearing Joe say it gave Ethan a flicker of hope. But still, doubt nagged at him, threatening to snuff out that spark. What if we organize this whole concert, and no one shows up? What if it's just me playing in front of an empty room? Then you'll have played your heart out for a good cause. But you can't think like that. Joe leaned in closer, his eyes narrowing with intensity. Believe in your music, Ethan. Believe in what you're fighting for. Ethan took a deep breath, inhaling the moment. The weight of the decision loomed before him, an ever-growing challenge that demanded true bravery. He felt ready to dive in, yet terrified of missteps. Would he be strong enough? Okay, so I'll start reaching out to musicians and local businesses for support. I'll tell them about the cause and see if they're interested in joining. That's the spirit. Joe replied, the enthusiasm contagious. And if you need help, I'll be right here. With a renewed sense of purpose, Ethan soon found himself scrolling through his phone. He texted a few friends, gathering them at a nearby cafe. Each ping of the notification felt like a step into the unknown, heartwarming but filled with doubt. As he waited, Ethan reflected on the people he wanted to help. The kids without homes, those who felt invisible and alone. Could his music make their struggles less isolating? Could it foster connection, understanding, and love? He imagined their faces lighting up as they listened to the songs he would write just for them. The cafe bustled with the hum of conversation. When his friends arrived, Ethan dazzled them with his vision, their excited chatter propelling him further. He laid out ideas, sharing his thoughts on music and how they could use it to send a message of hope and change. We can do this. We can make a real difference, he said passionately, but as the excitement unfolded, a thought crept back. What if the pressure was too much? It wasn't just about music anymore, it was about their lives, their reality. The weight felt enormous. Hey, Ethan. His friend Maya, her eyes gleaming with curiosity, pulled him from his thoughts. You really believe this can work? I have to, he replied, a mixture of enthusiasm and fear surfacing in his words. If I don't, who will? Maya nodded slowly, the air heavy with anticipation. Then we'll make it work together. We just need a plan. Just then, a gentle breeze swept in, fluttering the pages of his notebook that he had brought along. Ethan's heart fluttered too, caught between the adrenaline rush of beginning something extraordinary and the shadow of uncertainty that lingered just out of sight. Could they actually pull this off? With every decision, with every note he planned to play, Ethan knew his chances of failure lurked behind him. Yet, there was a glimmer of hope in his chest. United with his friends, maybe, just maybe, they could create something beautiful together. As the group developed their plans, one unsettling thought lingered in the back of Ethan's mind: who would step up next? Who among his peers would rise with him or fall away under pressure? That uncertainty, behind every good idea and every bit of courage, made him wonder if facing this journey would demand more than just music. It would require heart and sacrifice. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again, a message from someone unexpected. Who was reaching out now? And what did it mean for their collective vision? Ethan felt a surge of excitement and fear both, realizing that whatever lay ahead would shape not only the concert but his entire future as well. Ethan's fingers trembled as he opened the message. It was from Mia, a girl he had known since elementary school. They had lost touch over the years, but she had always been a talented musician, especially on the violin. To his surprise, her words felt as if they illuminated the screen. Ethan. I saw your speech. I would love to help out. Let us meet up. His heart soared at the unexpected support. A weight lifted, and for a moment, doubt slipped away. He quickly replied with a time and place, all the while dreaming about what her talent could bring to the concert. "You're looking at that phone like it holds the secrets of the universe," Joe remarked, noticing Ethan's brightening demeanor. "It's Mia. She wants to join us," Ethan exclaimed. Excitement bubbled to the surface, mixing with the nervousness that always lingered just beneath. "Perfect. The more the merrier," Joe replied, slapping Ethan on the back. "And trust me, her violin will add something really special." As the cafe grew busier, laughter and chatter filled the space, wrapping Ethan in a warm sense of community. His friends debated which local musicians to reach out to, their voices blending into an uplifting symphony of hope and determination. But just a few tables away, a man sat alone, eyes downcast, a faded cardboard sign resting against his leg. "Anything helps." In a way, the contrast struck Ethan hard. Here they were, filled with dreams and ideas, while someone so close was grappling with a harsh reality. It brought him back to his vision for the concert. It was about more than notes and melodies. It was about tangible change, about lifting people like the man in front of him. "We could invite local artists to perform, perhaps some well-known names might want to join," Maya suggested, her voice a hopeful whisper. Ethan nodded, but the weight of that vision felt heavier. "And we need to make sure that every dollar we raise directly supports the local shelters. It has to mean something." Joe spread out a napkin in front of him and began brainstorming. "Let us list out potential performers, businesses to contact for sponsorships," and every idea bounced around like a ball of energy, but an undercurrent of fear ran through Ethan. What if they didn't reach enough people? Would they be able to help even one kid who felt lonely like he had once? "Well, how are we going to promote this? Social media? Flyers?" Maya asked. "Yeah, we can do all that," Ethan replied, but his mind was still spiraling. His gaze shifted back to the man by the door. He could no longer ignore the sting in his chest, a compelling reminder of why he had chosen this path in the first place. Their small gathering felt like a cozy bubble, but the outside world remained filled with struggles he wanted to combat. Determined, Ethan stood up, glancing back at his friends. "You guys go ahead with the planning. I'll be right back." "Where are you going?" Joe looked up, concerned. "I need to talk to someone," Ethan said, more to himself than to them. He approached the man, heart racing. "Hey," he started, his voice trembling slightly. "I'm Ethan. I saw your sign. Would you like to talk for a moment?" The man looked up, surprised. "Talk? About what?" His voice was raw, though curious. Ethan swallowed, taking a breath. "I'm organizing a concert to help people just like you. I want your story to be heard." Hope danced in the stranger's eyes, mingling with skepticism. "You think a concert can change anything?" "I believe it can if we all work together," Ethan replied, feeling a rush of vulnerability. "Every bit of help matters." The man studied him, and for the first time, Ethan saw the flicker of understanding, not just about needing help, but about making a difference. Could this stranger see the vision sparking within him, too? But as the moment lingered, Ethan felt something rush over him, a sense of urgency he hadn't expected. What if this was just the beginning? What if their efforts could ignite a movement? A concert? The man murmured, a hint of hope coloring his question. "Yeah. Together, we can reach others like you. And I'd love to hear your story if you're up for sharing it." Ethan handed the man a flyer detailing the contact info, where they'd be performing, and the cause. Yet deep within, he felt a seed of doubt spring back, whispering that he might not be cut out for this, that maybe it was too much too soon. As he returned to his friends, the magnitude of what he was attempting settled once more on his shoulders. With so much at stake, could he truly find the strength to carry out his passion? And just as excitement mingled with fear, another message pinged on his phone. It was his mom, asking to meet. What could that mean? Did she know what he was planning? Ethan's pulse quickened. The next step in this journey was coming fast. Would it be one of support or hesitation? Ethan stared at his phone, uncertainty swirling inside him like a storm. Why did he feel so nervous about meeting his mom? They had always talked openly, but this felt different. What's the twist? Was she going to support his concert vision or pull him back into worrying about his future? He took a deep breath and walked back to his friends, who were deep in their planning. Joe and Maya were tossing ideas around, but Ethan barely heard them. His mind kept drifting back to the stranger, the flicker of hope in his eyes, and the realization of their concert's potential. "Hey, Earth," to Ethan. Joe waved a hand in front of him, breaking his trance. "Sorry. Just thinking," he mumbled, forcing a smile. "Thinking about the concert?" Maya asked, her tone slightly teasing. "Or about that mysterious message from your mom?" "Probably both," Ethan admitted. "I just can't shake the feeling that this is all so important." His friends exchanged looks before Joe spoke up. "It is important. But you can't let nerves get the best of you. You're doing this for a reason. Remember that guy with the sign?" Ethan nodded, the memory fresh in his mind. He felt their connection, a reminder that he wasn't just doing this out of a whim. "I want people like him to find hope, to know that they matter. And we'll make that happen," Maya said, her voice firm yet encouraging. "But let us make sure it's more than just a concert. It should be a movement." A sense of warmth spread through Ethan. He felt the support anchoring him, and he realized that he didn't have to carry the weight all by himself. They could lift each other along the way. As the afternoon unfolded, Ethan's phone buzzed again. It was from Mia, asking if they could push the meeting time forward. "Can we meet earlier? I have an idea for the concert that I think you'll love." Ethan's heart raced again. He quickly replied, agreeing enthusiastically. He could hardly wait to learn what she had in mind. Was it a song, a collaboration concept, or something even bigger? Before he had a chance to dwell on it too long, his mom called. "Ethan, can we meet at the park? I have something important to share." His heart sank slightly. Did she know about the concert? Would she discourage him? Still, he felt a surge of grit, pushing him to see this through. "Yeah, sure. I'll be there in 15, he replied, then rolled his shoulders back, trying to shake off the anxiety pooling in his gut. As he walked to the park, he replayed every moment he had spent planning this concert, the conversations, the connections, each step building towards something meaningful. The park was bustling, kids chased each other while mothers chatted on benches. He spotted his mom sitting alone, a small frown tugging at the corners of her mouth. "Hey, Mom." Ethan called, forcing a smile as he approached. "Hey, Ethan," she replied, but her eyes looked worried. "I saw that video of your speech. People are excited." A rush of warmth filled him. "Yeah. I'm really trying to make a difference. It's going to be a concert for a cause." Her expression shifted slightly, a hint of uncertainty creeping into her gaze. "About that I'm worried, Ethan. I want to support you, but I don't want you to get your hopes up too high." His gut twisted. "Mom, this isn't just a dream. I really believe we can do something good. We're already making connections with local artists." She took a deep breath, visibly searching for the right words. "I admire your passion," but Ethan held his breath, ready for the words that could either shatter his vision or guide him. Would she squash his dreams, or could she embrace the change he wanted to create? Just then, a bagpipe player started practicing nearby, the haunting tune floating through the air, echoing the uncertainty in his heart. Ethan looked at his mom, desperate for reassurance, but he got the feeling that the next word she said could change everything. Would he find the strength he needed to pursue his passion, despite her concerns? "Ethan, listen closely." "Ethan, listen closely." His mom's voice carried a weight that made his heart race. She shifted in her seat, glancing at the ground as if the very grass held the answers she struggled to voice. After a moment, she looked up, meeting his gaze. "I want to support you, but there is something you need to understand about dreams. They don't always go as we plan." Ethan swallowed hard, sensing the sharp turn the conversation had taken. But Mom, we're already starting to make an impact. We just need to keep pushing forward. I can't let fear hold me back. He wished he could convey every ounce of his conviction, but it felt like words were crumbling beneath him. Ethan, it's not about fear, she said, her voice gentle but firm. It's about realism. I've seen so many people get disappointed when things don't go the way they imagine. I don't want you to end up feeling that pain. Suddenly, the strains of the bagpipe shifted to a spirited melody, blending with the laughter of children. But it all felt distant to Ethan. Pain. Disappointment. Those words echoed in his mind like a warning bell. Mom, he said, trying to keep his voice steady, is that how you see me? As someone who can't handle disappointment? No. That's not it at all, she replied quickly, her eyes widening. I know you're strong. I worry that you're building something on shaky ground. What if we fail to get enough support? Or what if no one shows? The unsteady pit in his stomach twisted tighter. But what if we succeed? What if we touch lives? What if someone hears our message and it changes everything for them? Her frown deepened, but there was a flicker of something in her eyes, maybe it was hope or fear, he couldn't tell. I never want to extinguish your fire, Ethan. I just want to protect you. He sighed, feeling both frustrated and understood. I get that. But sometimes we have to take risks. Every great thing in life involves leaps of faith. Ethan's mom looked away for a moment, her gaze drifting to the park around them. He wondered if she was reflecting on another time when she took a leap, a trivial dream of her own, or a decision that changed her course. Okay, she said slowly, finally meeting his eyes with a newfound resolve. Let's talk about this concert. What do you really see happening? Lay it out for me. Her tone shifted slightly, relaxing just a little, and Ethan felt a flicker of warmth inside. I see a community coming together. Local bands helping us spread the message. People sharing their stories. We can even have a donation booth for local shelters. It'll be more than music, it'll be a gathering of hearts. For the first time, a smile tugged at her lips, even if just briefly. And what happens if you don't get that response? Mom, life doesn't come with guarantees. I know it's a risk, but we have to try. I can't shake the feeling that this concert could change lives. Silence fell between them, heavy but filled with possibility. He could see the gears turning in her mind. Could understanding and acceptance follow? Tell me about Mia's idea, she said, her voice softer now. Maybe it'll shed some light on everything. Ethan felt his excitement bubbling back. She has this concept for a song that feels different, something that really hits home. Go on, she urged, leaning closer, her initial hesitation starting to fade. Just then, his phone buzzed again, cutting through the moment. It was Mia. Ethan. Can you meet me at the cafe? I think I've got something amazing to share that's going to blow your mind. His pulse quickened. This was it. The key to launching their vision into something bigger. Mom, can I show you later? I have to go meet Mia. She nodded, her eyes now reflecting a glimmer of pride. Go. Follow your dreams, but just remember, I'm here for you every step of the way. Ethan shot her a grateful smile, a surge of hope filling him. As he turned to leave, he glanced back, the weight of her worry lessening. Maybe this would be a breakthrough in their relationship after all. As he hurried away, anticipation thrummed in his veins. What amazing idea did Mia have? But as he stepped into the bustling cafe, he couldn't shake off the nagging feeling of tension tying him back to his mom's concerns. Would his passion really be enough to conquer the obstacles ahead? And if he stumbled, would he fall hard, or would there be a safety net waiting to catch him? Ethan pushed through the cafe doors, the scent of freshly brewed coffee wrapping around him like an embrace. His heart was racing not just from the excitement of Mia's message, but from the conversation he just had with his mother. Could this be the moment when everything shifted? Mia was already at their usual corner table, her violin case propped against the wall. As soon as she spotted him, her eyes lit up with enthusiasm. "Ethan! You're just in time." He settled into his chair, eager to hear what she had in store. "What's this amazing idea you have?" Mia leaned forward, her voice trembling with excitement. "I've been thinking about how we can weave our stories into a song. Each note can reflect our experiences, the struggles, the hopes. We can perform it at the concert, and it'll resonate with everyone. A true anthem for everyone who needs a home." Ethan's heart soared. The vision was stunning. "That's incredible. We can showcase the stories of those we're trying to help. Our music is just the beginning. But," she added, biting her lip, "we'll need to collect real stories. We should invite people to come share what they've gone through. It could really elevate the concert's message." Ethan felt a surge of purpose. This wasn't just about melodic notes anymore, it was about lives and voices merging into harmony. "We could reach out to the shelters, ask if they'd help us organize some storytelling sessions." Mia nodded, her eyes sparkling with determination. "We need to string together a powerful narrative, something that drives home our mission." Just then, his phone chimed again. It was his mom texting, checking in on him. He smiled, the knot in his stomach easing a little. "She's coming around," he thought, remembering the flicker of hope in her eyes earlier. "Let's get to work," Ethan declared, feeling a rush of energy as both he and Mia began mapping out their plan. They started outlining everything together: the structure of the song, the stories they'd collect, and how to promote the concert to make sure the right people heard their message. Hours slipped by as they explored their ideas, bouncing thoughts off each other, mixing laughter with serious discussions about their vision. When they finally stepped outside, the sun had started to dip low, casting a hopeful glow across the city. Ethan felt lighter, driven by a new sense of clarity. He was no longer just a homeless piano prodigy, now, he was a catalyst for change. "Let's get everyone on board with this. We need to share our ideas with the group," he said, bubbling with enthusiasm. "Think of your friends, the musicians, every connection we make counts." Mia grinned. "Then let's bring them all together." The next few days turned into a whirlwind of activity. They reached out to fellow musicians, gathering support and enthusiasm like a football team rallying for a play. Each interaction felt like a note in a larger composition, echoing Ethan's dreams of shared melodies, shared stories. As the date of the concert drew nearer, they organized the storytelling sessions at local shelters and coffee shops, inviting people to share their experiences in exchange for a warm meal or a hot drink. Each session overflowed with emotion, tears mingling with laughter as lives intertwined and hope bloomed. Ethan found himself lost in the stories: the boy who would play, the girl who was writing her first song, the man who once played in a band but lost everything. Each narrative painted a deeper picture of their community, strengthening the bond between him and those around him. Finally, the concert day arrived. The venue buzzed with energy, thrumming with anticipation. Ethan stood backstage, his heart racing, sparking with the joy of the memories shared. He spotted Mia, adjusting her violin, whispering words of encouragement to the artists gathered with them. As they took the stage, the crowd burst into applause, but Ethan's gaze searched for his mother. When he spotted her, she was with a few shelter residents, smiles spreading on their faces as they caught sight of him. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, fingers poised above the keys of the piano. A hush fell over the crowd. With that first gentle note, Ethan felt weightless. The music poured from him, filled with every story he had listened to, every heart he had connected with. It was a celebration of struggles, triumphs, and above all, unity. As Mia joined in with her violin, harmonizing beautifully with his melody, the air crackled. The audience swayed, lost in their song. The energy shifted: they were no longer just an audience, they had transformed into a community. As the last note faded, cheers erupted, filling Ethan's heart with warmth. But amidst the applause, he looked toward his mother and saw her tears of pride. In that moment, the chasm that once threatened to divide them seemed to vanish. They would face the future together, hand in hand, fueled by the passion to make their world better, one note, one story, at a time. "Mom," he whispered under the swell of noise, "thank you for believing in me." As she met his gaze, a radiant smile broke across her face. Together, she agreed, and in that affirmation, Ethan knew they would forge ahead, and nothing, absolutely nothing, could dim their light. This was just the beginning of something beautiful, not just for Ethan but for everyone who needed hope. Ethan felt ready to embrace whatever came next. He had found his true purpose: to make music, share stories, and create change. And he wouldn't just inspire others, they would inspire him right back. Now it's your turn. If you felt this story touch your heart, you need to subscribe immediately to keep up with our next exclusive tales. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm so more incredible stories can reach people who need them. Comment below and share your feelings about this journey. Every reaction matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who could use some inspiration and warmth in their lives. True fans know the importance of building this community. Let us carry this momentum forward.